Good morning. Thanks for joining me at Coffee with Kory. I've got a little story about victory I'm going to tell you here in a minute, but I also want to let you know that by the time we're having this coffee together, I won't be in Tavern 88 anymore. I will be in Florida. Jossie and I are heading for Florida, and we're taking Pierce and 6 of his best friends along with us. So that's 7, 19, and 20-year-olds along with us in Florida. So we rented a Ford Transit van, and we're all loading up in the airport, heading to Bradenton, and then wherever we decide to go for the handful of days that we're there, the beach, the mall, and everything else. It's going to be a great time. We're really looking forward to it. So if you're connected with me on social media, stay tuned, because I'm sure there'll probably be some pictures of our adventures. My story about victory, it's not probably exactly what you think, but I've been working with this client for a couple of years almost, and we've looked at a lot of houses. And I'm not going to go too far into the weeds on specifics, but the long and short of it is that we've written offers on a handful of houses and had to structure them in certain ways that kind of led to them not getting the house. And and I'll just mention it. They've got a house that they need to sell, or that they want to sell before they purchase their next home, or make it contingent upon the sale of that house. And so that's usually what's led to us not being able to get the homes that we've written offers on. Well, we found a house early in the week, and it's an amazing house. And they wrote an offer. They ended up making it not contingent upon the sale of their house. But by the time we got to that decision, there was another offer on the property. But our offer was, I felt like it was not going to be able to be beat. It was just, we wrote a really, really solid offer, but they didn't get the house. And I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. One of the things that one of the aspects of this job is to be able to control your own emotions, because it's a very emotional business. It's a big purchase for clients, or sale, as the case may be. And it can be emotional for clients. So obviously the professional needs to be able to keep their emotions in check. And when I called my client, I was dreading that phone call. I've made that phone call hundreds of times through the years. It's never easy, but I was a little more on edge than I usually am, and I led with it. I said, "I'm sorry you didn't get the house, and I'm shocked. I really felt like we were going to get it." And I expected a completely different response than what I got. I expected them to be really upset. And he said, Kory, he said, it's okay. It's okay. We had talked about it. We prayed about it. And we knew that there was a possibility that this is the way it was going to happen. So it's okay. And at the end of it, he's consoling me. And I'm like, wow, that is victory over your emotions right there, through preparation and faith. And that's something that, it kind of took me back in time a wee bit, because I used to preach that, especially to Pierce, some to Connor and Cassidy, but about having control over your emotions in sports. All of the best people that you've ever seen in sports are able to control how they respond to pressure situations. Like I said, my client had it this week even more so than I did, and I appreciated you guys for that very, very much. So victory over your emotions, it's important. After I had that conversation with my client, I sat down in this chair right behind me, and I was going through social media just to kind of take my mind off stuff. And one of the first posts that I saw was from my good friend James, who had made a post with several pictures that he had taken, which was cathartic for him, because he was missing his good buddy Pete, who recently passed away. And he made a post, something to the effect of, I hope that Pete would appreciate these pictures. I'm missing my friend today. And as we've talked about often, that is, I bring up my friends often, and it's very soothing to be able to do that. And when I saw that post, I reached out to James directly via text message, and we just had a good dialogue about his buddy Pete. I learned that Pete was in the service, did a fair bit of traveling, and was just a really interesting guy. Had a big passion for taking pictures, and that was something that he and James enjoyed doing as James would drive him around our city and the area. And so it was really nice to be able to connect on a personal level that way with my friend, talking about his friend. And again, just let all of the stuff that had happened that day from a work aspect that didn't go quite like I'd hoped. A lot of that stuff just kind of melts into the background once you're connected with friends. So I appreciated you for that very much, as I let you know that night. So one more little story about friends here. I had to go into one of the county offices this week and do a little paperwork. Now walk in, and I'm signing some stuff, and there's two gals behind the counter, and the one looks at me and she goes, "Hey, are you from the Oneida area?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, I grew up in Blunt, went to high school in Oneida, and so she mentioned how she lived in Oneida for a few years. It would have been after I was already grown and gone from the area, but so that was kind of cool. And then the other gal says, "And I think you were really good friends with Matt Peary, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Yeah, I've seen some of your social media stuff when you mentioned Matt, so hopefully you're having coffee with me this morning. I don't even think I got your name, but I hope you're having coffee with me this morning." And but she went on to tell me about how she worked with Matt and how he was a prankster, but always smiling and laughing and in a great mood. And so that, as you might imagine, that made me smile. I walked out of that office that day, and I'm like, with all these memories of my good friends that I grew up with, and specifically of Matt, and it was heartwarming. So it was great to be able to relive some of those memories this week, and so I wanted to make sure that I shared it with you. So thanks again. As I say every week, I really appreciate you guys. I'm glad you're able to join me for coffee, and I hope to see you again next week when we're back in South Dakota. We're going to do the Florida out and back by the time we get together again. So we'll see you next week at Coffee with Kory.